good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening to everyone who's listening today. Unfortunately, Martin is not here to do the presentation for the VJS today, so I'm taking over. And actually, this is my first webinar with you guys. I took a quick glance at the attendees for today, and actually, a lot of you guys, or probably around half of you guys, I've already met or had the chance of talking to or presenting to in the past. So for those who don't know me, my name is Lawin Ileto, and I'm a business development manager here at NETRONIC. So today we're going to talk about the visual job scheduler. So this is for planning using the jobs module on Business Central for project planning. Today we're also joined by Alina Soto. So some of you might actually be working with her, especially for the guys who are in the US or in the Americas or in Spain or Portugal. Then she is a business development manager in charge of that region. For me, it's pretty much everywhere else that's not managed by Paulina or not in the German speaking market or Benelux and Scandinavia. So everything else is kind of what I manage.
Hi, hello. Thanks for the
Paulina?
introduction, Alina.
So if you guys have questions, by the way, so you guys are all on mute, and that's not because we don't want to hear from you, but that's mainly because we want to be able to present without any interruptions. But if you have anything that you want to ask us, you can chat with us. And for those of you guys who are more comfortable in speaking in Spanish, you can also chat in Spanish, and Paulina, who is from Mexico, can answer your questions. So the agenda for today is first we'll do a quick recap of what the visual job scheduler is. I'll teach you guys how to create new jobs in the VJS. I'll show you how simple it is actually when you start using the VJS, how simple scheduling would feel like. And we'll also take a look at how to track the progress of jobs on the VJS. So that's when you start making postings or once you start bringing out your timesheets. And most importantly, I'll be giving a lot of tips and tricks on how to simplify your scheduling experience with the visual job scheduler. So the little subtle functionalities that we've added to our product to make it better, more user-friendly. The visual job scheduler. So this is our product, which was originally from Nav. We brought it over to Business Central. It's available both in App Source and on-prem. Obviously, it integrates with the jobs module of Business Central and the resources module. And actually, we provide all of you guys a visual drag and drop front end to your standard Business Central jobs module. So typically, the kind of customers we work with are project service companies, engineering to order, some construction companies, to name a few. And in general, we try to keep improving our product. So every 4 to 6 weeks, we try to come up with something new functionality, some bug fixes or whatever. And obviously, this will also be updated in App Stores. And for those of you guys who are partners in our partner portal on Microsoft Teams, we regularly update the files that are in there. So let's look at what we are going to learn today. First, we'll look at creating and scheduling new projects or new jobs. So these are our main recommendations. If you were also present in an earlier visual job scheduler webinar by Martin last February, he talked about something similar, but for the benefit of the doubt of those of people who weren't there, here are some of just kind of a recap. And we also obviously added some new updates since that time. So obviously on your standard job module, you can create jobs for your unique jobs, or you can also create templated jobs for your repeating type of job. So, and obviously we will show both. We don't make any differentiation between what you use, which type of job you have, but we help you visualize both. But we have some tips in how to work with this with our solution. We have created what we call virtual resource groups. So something that really standard Business Central didn't really give you, but we created this kind of extra step to make it easier for you to schedule, especially if you have a resource group. For example, you're in I don't know, in an assembly department, you have 10 people working there, and you have a certain job come in, and you're not really sure who among the people that work under the assembly department you want to assign this specific job. So we have kind of like this placeholder for the meantime. You can give it to your whole resource group, and later on schedule it to a specific resource under that group. So that's the idea of the virtual resource group. So I think it's easy because it takes your mind off of actually trying to think. When you create a new job, you're trying to think of who among my guys will make it, but actually it doesn't matter. We recommend that you use this functionality of the virtual resource group in order to, just put it on the Gantt chart first, and later on plan it accordingly. Another recommendation is to create templates. So kind of like your job order, follow if you have jobs that kind of repeat themselves, you kind of create this templated job wherein the order of your tasks, the order of your job planning lines are kind of the same over and over again. Then you just need this template and you keep copying from it order into your new jobs. And this is actually something that you can already do on standard Business Central, but yeah, it's just something that you can also view with our solution. So let's have a look now. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already seen what the visual job scheduler looks like. This is my data now. It's a bit simplified. So let's get straight into it, right? So you know that you have your jobs here. If I want to create a new job, I cannot create it. I cannot create it on our visual job scheduler, but I'd have to create it on standard Business Central. So let's try to create a couple of jobs so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I want to create a new job. Let's say it's a unique job, but a simple job. So let's say, let's pick a random customer. Let's say this is the a very a very simple job. And for the fun of it, what we actually allow you to do is also pick a color for a job. So if I want to have specific focus on a job, then I can pick a color for it to kind of differentiate it from my other jobs that I will see. Let's say I want pink. Say I want pink for this job, and let's make let's say we're installing something. Installation part 1, and sorry, and let's create a job planning line for this job task. So we have one job task for this overall job, and now let's create the job planning line. So let's make a job planning line. Um, yeah, let's say the work date is 28th of January. So let's just keep it there. Let's keep it simple. Let's say it lasts, I don't know, 40 hours of work, and let's assign it, because it's an installation, then it kind of makes sense to assign it to my installation resource group. So what I was saying earlier is that we have these virtual resource groups, and actually these virtual resource groups kind of look like this. They have a strange name, and that's because you have to use this dollar blah 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 dollar to kind of notify that it is a resource group. And later on, I'll show you how it's differentiated when you actually start planning. So let's just give it for now to our resource group for field installation. And now I should have it here, my very simple job. And if I reload it, it comes out as pink. So I see my new job here, color pink. Its duration is it's 0. Let's see. I think I should make it 40, and let's reload that. And now I see my job in pink. I see that it starts on the 28th of January. And actually, what I could also do later on is if I want to make a new job that's templated, let me show you what I would do. So this is what you would do if you want to create a job that is like a unique job. Obviously, you guys for those of you who are already used to the jobs module of Business Central, then this is not something new for you. Of course, you create unique jobs all the time. But what I wanted to show you is if once you start creating new jobs and how it would look like on our Gantt chart. So now let's go back to the jobs and let's make use of a template. So I have a couple of templates here actually. So you can see it. I kind of changed the number the job number. So instead of the typical J/number, then I have like a master whatever, because those are my templates. So I have 3 different templates, and what I want to do is I want to create a new job. Let's say for I don't know, this airport, and let's say this is like a typical job. It's a typical job, and so that we can easily differentiate this typical job to our very simple job, let's change its color to green. So now we're using green. Let's instead of creating obviously my job tasks and my job planning lines, what I can do is I can just go to process, copy job tasks from, and I can just say I want to copy it from one of my templates that I created earlier. Well, not here, but that I have. So let's say it's not as simple as my other job, but it's a typical job, and my typical jobs are, I don't know, here, this one, lean, and have a starting date and end date. Actually, if I just press OK, I think it should still be copied. And then now we have it's starting to take shape, right? You see the the job tasks that I copied. And obviously these job tasks, this structure that you see here is what actually you see on our visual job scheduler. You'll see the job tasks and the subtasks, and later on the planning line. So actually all of these should have some planning lines inside of them. Not that one, but so there are some job planning lines, a lot of them with no quantity, but yeah, we can just um, put some quantity later. But I just wanted to show you what it would look like if you make use of a template. And now, if I go to my reload, so every time I make changes on standard Business Central, or if I make changes on my Gantt chart and want it to reflect on standard Business Central or vice versa, then I would always need to hit the reload button. So I made a typical job. I made it in green, and my job would now follow my template for lean, like my lean jobs. And now it looks like this. I have job planning lines, most of them or all of them with 0 quantity. Later on we can change that. But yeah, so that's how you can create jobs. So you can create jobs obviously by using templates, and or you can create jobs obviously by normally how you create jobs, just filling it up manually. But that's how it would look like on our visual job scheduler. So now let's go back to the slides. If I missed out on anything, what I kind of showed you was how to create a new job and what it would look like on our job schedule. It's pretty easy because if you already know how to create jobs, it's just what you normally do. Except when it comes to the scheduling part, then obviously that's where we come in. We made use of the colors. I actually forgot about showing you the start and end date if you leave it out and put it, but I can show you that very quickly. So If I look at my simple job, there should not be any date here, but if you can put a date as well. Let's say it ends in the end of February. If it's kind of like your milestones, and the whole job will just kind of become longer because I set it as to the end of February and it starts at January 28th. So that's something that you can do. You don't need to put a start date. You actually also don't need to put an end date, but that's something that we would recommend you to do, is to put an end date, not necessarily put a start date. Yeah, so let's now go on to scheduling. So now that we have the jobs in our Gantt chart, how do you actually schedule? What does it look like? So let's go here. This is a very simple example because there's just one job planning line and one job task. So obviously I can move my job planning line. And if I make any drag and drop changes, I would see this gray dot here. This gray dot means that I've made changes on my Gantt chart, but it hasn't been saved back to Business Central yet. So I have always the option to kind of reload, to go back to my last kind of step wherein this dot is not existent yet, or just click save if I'm happy with that. So let's say I'm happy with that. So I click save. I can do that. Also, what I can do is I can split job planning lines. So if I can now split job planning lines, let's say, yeah, maybe it happens, it doesn't happen altogether, but 20 hours would happen here, 20 hours would happen after the next week or whatever. And later on, you'll see why this is important. This actually will affect how you would then assign or reassign a job planning line to a different resource. So you can do that. You can also create links between job planning lines. So I can create a link here, start, finish. And just to show you how the relationship works like this. Um, Obviously, when you drag and drop a job planning line, I can see already which day I'm dragging it into. Maybe let's zoom in a little bit so you guys have a better view. But if I move something here, because of the link between them, obviously it would kind of automatically move. And if I move this here, have this space in between, I can just say schedule successors, and it kind of drags it back there. So I always have this functionality that it won't violate the sequence. So that's linking of different job planning lines. And obviously, if I create something, I can also delete it. And now let's look at it on the resource view. So this was the first view, what we call the job view. And this is what you use if you want to schedule a job in terms of its timelines, in terms of changing something, something's late, something's early, or whatnot. This is that view. We have actually another view that you can use when scheduling, and it's called the toggle creation. It's not really a view, but it's a separate pane on the right side. And from here, I know that I'm doing installation. I can easily drag and drop from my different resource groups a resource to a job task or to a job. So let's say installation. I already know that this 40 hours is not enough, even though they had a break in between. It's actually not assigned to anyone yet. But I know for a fact that this guy Wayne, he's gonna work on the 22nd of February. So I can just drag and drop Wayne. By default, we create a new job planning line, and the default quantity would be 8 hours because that's our default working time. So he gets 8 hours. So instead of creating a new job planning line inside your job card on standard Business Central, you can easily just create new job planning lines by dragging and dropping your resources from this toggle creation mode on the right side. Drag and drop it here, and you actually create a new job planning line already. So let's see what that looks like. So another functionality we have for you to easily switch between views. So let's remove this first, is what we call the show in resource view, and vice versa, show in job view. So I want to see where Wayne is and how this looks like on my other view. So this is the job view. Obviously, it looks a bit different because now instead of jobs on the left side, you have resources. And as I was sharing with you guys, you have these resources or these virtual resources with the dollar symbol, right? So they show up on top here. And they also have this number on the side, which kind of tells you how many job planning lines are assigned to my resource, my virtual resource group, which later on, obviously, I would have to assign to a specific resource. You also have what we call these capacity curves. So these capacity curves are the capacity of your resources, or in this case, your resource group. So he has a cumulative capacity of all the resources under him. That's why his capacity is 48 and Wayne's is only 8. And I can see that on certain days, I have a few guys who are not doing much, and I want to just um, assign this to race. And I see race's capacity curve actually changes. But I also see that, oh, Steve Miller's actually not doing anything then. I could also say split job planning line. And now it has like 10, 10. And by the way, this is what your job looks like. Oh, I mean your job planning looks like on a resource if he's overloaded. So you have this red notification here. And you also get other notifications here on top. So here I can see that race capacity was exceeded. You also have a few job planning lines that have some issues. We can go to that later on. But now I can kind of say, Steve, maybe so the job planning line is finished or the job is finished faster. I can give it to two people, and every time I just click split job planning line, it'll always just divide it in half. So that's something that you should remember. So that's how you would schedule. Obviously, if you had some, you can also create the links on the resource view, but our ideal scenario would be for you to create it on the job view because this actually has more to do with the timing, right? But you can also create it here and delete it from here. So these are some of the tips that we work with. Let's go back here. Let's one of the new features that we have is actually the ability to customize a tooltip. So for you guys who want to always see the necessary information, or you want to see a lot of information of something on our Gantt chart, then you have what we call the text tooltip. So if I move my mouse over the job, I get the job's text tooltip, which gives me these different information: the description, the status, the start end date, etc. If my job task as well, I can see different information for my job task, and I can also see different information for my job planning line. If I go now to my resource view and I put my mouse over my resource on the left side, I can also see a text tooltip for my resource. So this is something that as of late we allow the user to customize. So all you have to do is go to let's do it again, to actions, to administration, user setup, actions and configurations, and text tooltip. So I have here the job text tooltip, and here's the different information I can customize. So there's really a lot of information, and it's really what you want to see. I guess for some planners, they don't need to see much. For some, need to see more. Obviously, if you have a bigger text tooltip and you want to look at information of your job planning line or your job, then if there's too much information, then it might cover your Gantt chart and you won't be able to see the other job planning lines or jobs. So it really depends on how you want to schedule, but we give you a lot of options here. So yeah, let's go back to it. Um, so I think now is time to move forward to the next discussion. I see. Wait, let's take. I see a question. Let's try to answer it as we go along. All right. So let's go here. Um, yeah. Okay. So what's important for scheduling jobs in general is that you should set up a timesheet manager. So um, under um, that's under your user setup, and you just have to select somebody as the approver of the timesheets. Um, Obviously, once you start approving and posting timesheets, that would also have some kind of visualization effect on the job scheduler. But you have to make sure that you enable apply usage link so that this enables us to track the progress on the job. So let's show you how to post. I think there's some more questions. So I just made Paulina the organizer as well, so that probably while I'm doing the presentation, she can answer some of your questions. And I think there was also a question in Spanish. Now let's go back to the demo and let's see how we can track the postings or the timesheets that are approved in our visual job scheduler. So actually, I already have an example here where I made some postings for a specific job planning line. So you can see a percentage kind of pop up here on your job task or your jobs or your subtasks for that matter. And now let's show you guys how to make it from scratch. So first, what's important is for your resource. Let's go to the resource view. Let's pick out a resource. Let's say Steve Miller. What you have to do is you have to make sure that he has this use timesheet button on. And I already set up myself as a timesheet owner and a timesheet approver. So I'm admin. I've now set that up on his resource card. And I know that on, let's say, what day is this? On the 8th to the 9th of February, he has this job planning line. But actually, he already did this. So let's go now to his timesheet. So if we go to timesheets, what you would have to do is you'd have to create a timesheet. Starting date, what day was it? It was the 8th, yeah, correct. So it was the 8th of February. Sorry, timesheet. Create a timesheet for the 8th of January. Yeah, this is Steve Miller. So I made a timesheet here. Let's say he actually did let's see the information we need to see. The job planning line. So job number 142, 2100. So that's what I should log in. Sorry. No. So that was, he did 8 hours here, 8 hours here, and then I can say, let's say he did, I don't know, installation, and then I could submit this to that line. And then if I now go to my job journal, just have to click suggested lines for timesheet. Wait, let me just go back here. I think it's something with the, oh, because it's already submitted. Let's make a new one then. I can also reopen this. That's true. Good idea. And what was he working on? He was working on, let me see again, 140. Yeah, true, true. Now it's submitted. Now if I go to my job journal and click on suggested timesheets, still not coming out.
Check the type again.
Yeah.
When you close that one. There we go. In the
No, on the here on the suggested lines. Yeah. Yeah, it's always when you're doing the demo, can make it work. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong.
here we have our recommendation that you have to approve the timesheet.
Of course, I forgot to approve the timesheet. Good idea. Thank you for that.
Let's
Watch
see.
this. It's here.
That's what happens in life.
That's what happens in life. Of course. Now I have approved the timesheet. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendation. Now I can go to my job journal. And there we go. I can just say post. Oh yeah, the document number, of course. And now if I post it and I reload my visual job scheduler, then under this job, under 2001, I now have 40% under Steve Miller postings. So that's kind of what it would look like once you start posting. Obviously, you need to press submit, approve, don't forget, and post. So I forgot the approve part, but in an ideal scenario, that's what you would need to do. Yeah, so that's what it would look like then on the visual job scheduler.
Just to add on that,
Yep.
you can see it on the number on the line of the the 40%, and then you can also see the line below. That is the gray line that covers the 16. That is 16 hours is the equivalent of the 40%. Yes. So that one is completely ready.
Right.
Then we only have Alan Jacobson who has to do something.
Exactly. So on the resource view as well, you'll see that same line here. So that's what it would look like on the resource view. So there you go. That was a very quick presentation. There are a few more subtle functionalities within the VJS, such as filtering. I can also show you what it looks like if you need to filter, because I can see there's a lot of time left. and how we would kind of filter. So obviously, what you saw earlier, my data was only my projects. But if I would like show you what my project templates look like, I can also make a filter for that. So in terms of what kind of filters you can have, um, you actually have a lot of options. So you can filter based on your job, your resource group, or your resource. And under that, there are just a ton of options you can do. So that's just a number, but you can filter based on a lot of different things and make combinations between your job, your resource group, and etc. But yeah, basically how we would kind of recommend you to work with. Well, obviously it won't work for all companies, but how we work is just you have your templates and just your real projects, or you show all. So if I were to show you all, um, it would look different. So so it would look a bit more crazy, and I have more problems with scheduling because now I have all the data here. So I have a lot of other errors, notifications, not errors, but notifications that you didn't see earlier. So I have actually my templates are here, and yeah, so that's how to make use of filters. There's one more I wanted to show you actually is how you calculate job planning lines. So this is under, let's go back here. It's under actions, administration, and company setup. Actually, there you can turn this on or off. And actually, if you want to calculate the job planning line duration, um, normally if you have this off, it regardless of the quantity of your job planning line, it will kind of force it at 1 day and not really show you the whole length of the job planning line. So let's show you what that looks like. Um, so right now I have actually I have a 20 hour job planning line here. But actually 20 hours, if I would just give it to one resource, is not actually possible to finish in 1 day, right? But but if you turn off that functionality, that's how it would look like. And if I turn that on again, let's just show you what it would look like now. Then it kind of just it calculates the whole length of the start and end date. I mean, not the start and end date, but the required amount of quantity um, equals to your capacity, and kind of shows it on the Gantt chart there. So yeah, I think that's most of the functionalities, or almost all of the functionalities of Visual Job Scheduler. So I'd like to take the last 15 minutes to just look and answer your questions. Right. So thank you, Paulina. I think she answered some questions already. Approved timesheet. Yeah, approved timesheet. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. um, so for the
And
order
Alan.
and Alan. Yeah, right. Um, for the orders scheduled, is there a view? Is there a view to verify if we have shortages and for which orders? So this is from Danieli Machado. I'm trying to
Well, I
understand the
think
question. Yeah.
if this is for the time, then it would be the progress, because during the progress of a project, of a planning line, then you can see if you're behind or ahead. But as in orders, then it's something else, because that's the other software.
Yeah, because actually, because I was looking at it, and if we look at really like orders and shortages, I think that's more of the material availability and
Yes.
actually having enough items to produce a parent item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Barrett also answered. Yeah. Yep. So actually, the EMAD is, or the earliest material availability date is on our Visual Advanced Production Scheduler and not on the jobs. Okay, a question from Ruben. When we have the virtual resource line, how can I see that all the hours are planned with actual resources? Yeah, all right. So let's go back to the resource view. So we have what an identifier here, this number beside your virtual resource. So the number 26 actually means that there are um 26 job planning lines that are assigned to this virtual resource that obviously you would need to plan and assign to your other resources along the line. So that's the biggest, I guess, the notification that we give. So if I would then kind of drag a a job planning line to a different resource, then you saw the number from 26 go down now to 25. So that's kind of like how you would see a visual kind of notification, whether or not it's the actual um, resource doing it or the virtual resources by that number. Are there more questions? Right. I think there are no more questions. Guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask us but like can't remember now, you can always write to us, me and Paulina, depending where your country
Located.
is located. So this you can also add us on LinkedIn, obviously, and follow us on Twitter. I mean NETRONIC. But yeah, if you're coming from the Americas or Spain or Portugal, then Paulina is your go-to person. And if you're coming from I mean the rest of the world, excluding Benelux and Scandinavia and the German-speaking market, then I'm your guy. If not, like you might already be in contact with your key contact business development people such as Martin or Egon. So yeah, that's it for today. If there are no more questions, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. We'll be uploading a recording of it probably within the next few days. And stay tuned because we're coming out with more stuff. And actually, last week, if you guys weren't able to attend, we had our first ever online event called Next by Netronic, and we're already trying to. It was for us, it was a big success, and now we're trying to think of our next event. So stay tuned. As mentioned, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. You can add me and Paulina as well. I think there's another question in Spanish. Paulina, can you see it?
Sí, yeah, I can see it.
All right.
And yes, sí tenemos otra. Te voy a mandar un mensaje después de esta conferencia para platicar. All set.
All right, guys. So have a nice evening. Until next time. Bye. I shall end the meeting.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye.